hello, and welcome to Respect, the San Francisco International Hip Hop Dance Fest weekly podcast. I'm Micaya, I'm your host, and this is my fabulous co-host, Brandy Beazley.
What's up, y'all?
Hey, I don't know what's going on, but it is late September right now, and if you haven't gotten your tickets yet for the 27th Annual San Francisco International Hip Hop Dance Fest, better snatch them because they might be all gone soon, because we have dance companies coming from all over this planet, and they are iconic, and they are incredibly skilled, professional, gorgeous artists.
Can't wait.
Ooh. I can't wait. You know,
they're going to come bless that stage.
We have a very artistic program this year. It's going to have some moments of like mesmerizing and moments of like, oh, deep, and some moments of, hey, fun, and wow, I cannot believe that person can do that with their body, and some funny moments. So, you know, as always, it'll be a very diverse program. It's November 8th and November 9th. You have 3 shows to choose from. Well, it's the same show, but 3 shows. One on the 8th at 7 p.m. It's a Saturday, and 2 on the 9th, 12 or 5. Every show has kind of a little accompanying thing that goes with it. So just go to sfhiphopdancefest.com and find out all the information, get your tickets. You know, Brandy and I have been doing this Respect podcast for now, I don't know how many years. I always forget. Is it 4?
I think this is the 4th year. Yeah.
I think this 4th year.
Oh, wow.
We're honored to always be able to offer this to you, the public, because it's been really beneficial to be able to offer the information, education that we really appreciate as just the 2 of us, but then that we can let our listeners know and our audience know, because there's so much to know, and we learn right along with you a lot of the times. And our guest today is going to be like one of the most informative ones, giving us all the information and education. So let's find out, who are we interviewing today?
Oh, we are interviewing Boogaloo Dana, co-founding member of the legendary crew Medea Sirkas. I'm a big fan. He's a pioneer, historian, and activist for the Boogaloo style of dance, an art form that predates hip-hop. Born in West Oakland, he began dancing in 1972, shaping a style influenced by icons such as Little Dion, James Brown, Derick Lovings, Alfred Jones, John Murphy, Tony Newsome, and the animated energy of cartoons. As co-director of Medea Sirkas, Dana has spent decades pushing the boundaries of street dance while preserving its roots, inspiring generations with his precision, creativity, and electrifying stage presence. His passion and discipline have earned him some of the culture's highest honors, including the Minister of Culture Award, a Lifetime Achievement Award for Demon of the Mind, induction into the Hip Hop Archives Hall of Fame with Medea Sirkas, and a Lifetime Achievement Award for Medea Sirkas. A true innovator and cultural guardian, Boogaloo Dana continues to embody the spirit of street dance, always keeping it street.
And of course, he is the recipient of the San Francisco International Hip Hop Dance Fest Legend Award.
That's right.
Welcome, Boogaloo Dana.
Good morning, everybody. I'm here. I'm just sitting here in awe. Like, are they talking about me? That's why you didn't hear anything.
That's right. That's you. We're talking about you. Cultural icon.
I'm like, is this that guy they're talking about? Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Don't forget. You need somebody to read your bio every morning when you wake up to remind you all that you've done.
I know. My wife gets on me all the time. She says, you don't talk about yourself enough. You're too humble. You go to parties and people are talking about what they do, and I stay silent. So I need to start doing that more.
Or just have someone follow you around and read your bio.
I want to just start by addressing why we're not able to see your beautiful face, because I know people are going to wonder.
That's okay. I'll take the fall for that. We moved into a house that's in the middle of nowhere, and it's in the, we call the boonies. So the reception, we're still getting the reception, the wirings, and all that stuff fixed up. So it's causing a lot of technological difficulties. That's all it is. It's not on. It's on our fault. It's our fault on our side. That's what it is.
Okay. I wasn't trying to make fault or anything, but I just wanted to say it's not.
No, yeah.
We're
I'm
not
camera shy. That's funny.
You know, I have to read something to you really quick about what Fazo said about you. He said,
Uh-oh.
Boogaloo Dana isn't just a Bay Area dance legend. He's a walking encyclopedia of Bay Area dance history, exclamation point. If you've got a question about the culture, the style, or the pioneers, chances are he's got the answer. He's a true OG, historian, and keeper of the movement, not to mention he's the co-founder of Medea Sirkas.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't know.
Known the guy for 58 years. Didn't know he was thinking like that.
Well, now you know. Yes.
Thank you. I'm humble. Again, I'm humble and honored. Yeah. Thank you so much. I guess it's what you call getting your flowers. I guess what they say.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us some Bay Area dance history, please.
There's so much history in the Bay Area in all genres, along with dance and culture. Anything more specific? Because we'd be here like 20 years for answering that question.
We'll be here 20 years. Specific to your journey.
So I came from a musical family. A lot of people don't know. My father was a well-known Latin jazz musician, Joel Dorn. He played Latin jazz. And again, this is where my humbleness comes in, but I'm going to put it out there now because it's time to do it. So we're connected to the Shealy family, Pete Escovedo and Shealy and all them. So Shealy's mother name is Juanita. Her brother's name is Joe Gardier, and that's my godfather. So they've been around us our whole life. So music's always been in our family. So my father, and he's deceased now, but him and Pete always played together. Of course, Pete got the renowned fame, but my father was more underground. So I've been around music all my whole life. Actually, a lot of people know I was a musician before I was a dancer. But I got tired of dragging all those instruments around and, trying to get a car. And, I said, I don't have time for this. And so I saw some dance. When I saw the dancing, got into it, I said, you don't need any instruments. All you got to do is take yourself, some white gloves, at that time, an album, walk around and do what you do. So I started doing this in 1972. And I stumbled on it by accident, and I was in junior high school, and this kid next to me named Drake, he was a street guy, and he kept doing this dance every day, and I asked him what he was doing, and he told me it was called Boogaloo, Bugging, and Cutting Up. That's what it really was called. And so eventually he started showing me, and then once I got pretty good, he said, I'm going to take you to another group called the Soul Steppers. They're better than me. And I saw the Soul Steppers, and once I met them, they were my junior high. They were a year older than me, and once they showed me, it was over with. The rest is history. I went on this ever journey trying to find out all these different styles, where this came from, who were the founders, and that was my journey. That's the general explanation, actually.
Did the styles have names at the time?
Yes, originally it was called Cutting Up, Boogaloo, and Bugging.
Okay, so were those three different styles, or
no? It was the same style, just different names for the same. Depending on where you lived at or who said it, it was the same thing, same dance, different people having different names for the same movement. Because I don't know if you know, this dance came out in 1965, New Year's Eve,
okay,
and at a house party. And so that's what it originally was called, Bugging, Boogaloo, Cutting Up. And like any other dance, when it comes out, depending on what side of town you live on or what neighborhood you live in, different people are going to call it different names, make up different moves and call it. But it's the same movement, just different people have different, just different terminology from different people. But it's the same movement.
Okay, so bugging.
Semantics, I guess. Semantics, that's what it is.
Okay, so they're basically the same. It just depends where you're from, but what they called it.
Yeah, it's just like when breaking came out, the movies called it breaking for commercial sense. But if you talk to the guys in New York and the Bronx, they call it B-boy, B-girl, or break boy, or break girl. but it's the same dance. They just had different names for it. So we did the same thing. Instead of cutting up, boogaloo and bugging, and then later on it became popping, and then it became, you know, strutting in San Francisco. So they just kept changing, but it was the same movement. They just added their flavor to it and then changed the name. But the foundation has not changed. It's changed since '65. It's just, I mean, it has, but the concept hasn't changed since the '60s and '70s.
Right.
Wow.
It's the same as like you see when tap dance at the beginning, when you see what's the guy's name? Bojangles, Bill Robinson. He has that really old, slow, old style where he's coming down the stairs to Shirley Temple on the steps. And it's a real kind of like classy style. And then you go to the style to him where you have the guys at Apollo, like Sandman and Jimmy Slide, and them, where they have more like the street style. And then you have the real classy style, like with the Nicholas Brothers, where they're doing with the suits. And then you fast forward to the Hines, and then you go to Savion Glover, who's a street and Sundance. Walter Freeman, they took it all the way to the street and took it off the street, but it's still tap dancing, still hoofing. It just evolved. We did the same exact thing.
I hope that everyone is listening and like write those names down, and then you need to go Google them because the knowledge that's being dropped right now, just the lineage, right? All those names you just dropped. So knowing that, like what you see now on stage, the history of that and how it has evolved and where it started. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this New Year's Eve that you were just referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
So around 1965, at a New Year's Eve party, there was a young man by the name of Duck, Donald Matthews, but Duck was his nickname. And what he did, he stumbled on, like most dancers who create stuff, they don't create it, they innovate it by accident. No dance is created on purpose. It's always stumbled on. Perfect example, not to take away from what we're talking about. Let's say Don Camelot, rest in peace. He's the godfather of locking. The way he created locking was he was at a club called Mavericks Flat, and he didn't know how to dance. So what he would start doing is clowning around, doing the funky chicken and pointing at people and laughing and playing with his hat. And people were laughing. He realized every time he did something, people started cracking. And he said, I'm onto something here. So he just built on it. And next thing you know, he didn't give it the name. The people gave it the name. Next thing you know, they called it locking. And I talked to him. He said he didn't create those moves. He didn't give those names. The people, it took a life on its own. So it evolved naturally. Well, this worked the same way. Before, in 1965, all the kids were doing the James Brown skate, and they were doing the mashed potatoes. Everybody in all urban communities around the United States were doing James Brown. But what separated us, the guys just said, you know, I'm going to switch it up and start moving like imitating creatures from the movies. Because that's where's our influence. The Dinorama and the creatures from the Sinbad movies, Ray Harryhausen. That's where our influence comes from. It doesn't come from the robot. It doesn't come from the other. It comes from that. And he started. He took the wiggling part. It's a part when you see dancers and they're worming. That came from a guy named Crazy Harold on a show called Highlight in Chicago in the early 70s. No, I take that back. He took that from some African dancers, from an African class. That's what it was. And then the freeze is something he came with his own. The stop you see people do, he came with that on his own. And then the hand, when you throw your hands up, that came from Crazy Harold from his Highlight show in Chicago back in the 60s. And so he took those styles from all those different things, and he started moving it, and he realized people were responding to it. Then he started imitating characters from cartoons and monster movies. So that imitating monsters from monster movies and cartoons and wiggling like the Africans and throwing your hands up like Crazy Harold. And next thing you know, people are like, oh, my God, he's bugging. Oh, man, look at him boogaloo. The word got around. That's bugging. He's boogaloo. He's cutting up. That's where the word came from. And then it spread like fire. Then after people saw him, people started copying him, and they came with their own varieties. Next thing you know, like any other thing, the whole city was doing different varieties of what he was doing, and that's how it was born.
Oh, my gosh. My mind is just blown right now.
I think they're all born like that, but that's how ours was born.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then... Was that too much or too quick or too complicated? Because I'm trying to give you a 50, 60 history.
I know you're trying to like compact it, right? You're giving us the compact. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's good that you're going so far back. That's important.
Yeah, well, we predate everybody. Only thing people I think we don't predate is tap dancing, but we predate breaking, we predate locking, we predate hip hop. I think we might be the second oldest street dance next to tap dancing.
Wow.
But because it was never documented, because like everything else, the Bay always gets sidetracked and somebody else takes the history, runs with it, and they get the credit for it. But we're going to change all that. But yeah, it's one of the oldest street dances that people don't even know about where it came from. And the whole concept of the movie. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Huh?
I said, what part of the Bay Area did it come from?
Havens Court Junior High School in East Oakland. Havens Court, E. Morse Cox, and McChesney High School. It came out of the elementary schools in 1965.
Wow. Which totally makes sense with the cartoons. Like, right? It's just like what you have access to, right? You have access to whatever music your parents are listening to. You got access to these cartoons, right? So these are the things that are influencing people at that time who are in those neighborhoods, and just taking that and just creating this, like Micaya said earlier, mesmerizing moves that have like such longevity and have influenced everything that's come after them. And it's really important for people to know this, because I think sometimes people get kind of ahistorical and think that this just, has always been here and been this way. But it's like, no, let's rewind and look at where this came from. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Well, it gets deeper into that without going to it gets deeper into that, because you got to realize what happened is, everybody knows this, when the Great Migration happened in the 30s and the 40s, a lot of the African-American families moved from the South. So they brought their talents, they brought their music, they brought their culture with them. So that was the first part. So all these people are concentrated in these red line points like West Oakland, Oakland Auditorium Circle, Parkchester Village, South Berkeley Projects, and the place in Albany. I can't think of the place in Albany right now. So they brought their talent with them. And as time goes on, the culture with the Black Panther movement, the free speech movement, the hippie movement, even the counterculture with the Hells Angels and what's the other group called, the Black Motorcycle Organization. All that plays a part in everything. And with then you have the underground culture with we didn't have gangs, but with the pimps and the hustlers and all that. The way they dress, the way they talk. Because Too Short talks about this too. He's like, he came here, it was like a movie when he saw that. And I know what he's talking about. So we imitate the way they dressed, the way they move. So when we danced, we moved the way that they did when they were on the street. And then we had other people who took from the cartoons and the Ray Harryhouse and Dynarama, and we took those movements and we try to match them as close as we can. Because the whole purpose of the movie was the movement was to look unreal, and if somebody asks you what you're doing, you're not doing it right. If they say, "Oh my God, he looks just like a dinosaur," that was the whole purpose, and that's what the animation part of it comes in. And you're doing this off of funk music, which is on the one. That's something James Brown is responsible for on the one, because before that, music was on jazz, R&B was on the 2 and the 4. When James Brown came in '67, the music came on the 1, and that allowed everybody to accent their move with their hit, and it made you look more unreal. So that's what created that's why we look somewhat unreal than everybody else. So all that played a part of it. And with the discipline of Black Panthers, with the when they're in the line marching, that's where our lines come from, our discipline come from, and even the underculture, the guys in the street, just like in New York, the break b-boys, the street guys are the one that made this dance up. That's why it looks so scary and so hard, because it came from who they really are. And now it's got a little water. It's okay because mainstream is supposed to be like that, but it initially came out like that. And that's what birthed, those are all different things that played a part of this dance.
Okay.
I know, we're just taking it all in. We're absorbing this.
Absorb like a few seconds to just like continue to absorb and process everything that you've said, which makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you see tap dancing, if you see breaking from New York, you see locking from, you see all these street dances, even the guys now, even the Brookups from Brooklyn and what they do, and the Memphis Juking from Memphis, and Jitters from Detroit, and the South Side, all these styles, they all have a culture, they all have a background, they'll have something that breeded that, why it looks the way. It didn't just come out of thin air, it's a movement behind it, or whether it's a go-go movement out of Chicago, Washington, D.C., or the rappers from Memphis fueling the dancers, the gangster walking and the juking. We all have the same story, and then a lot of it, does come back from Africa, the influences, but it's the same thing anyway, because we all come from the same bloodline. And it's just something, I don't know, it's something, and you have a culture like that, it breeds that type of creativity. And mostly urban culture, especially in poor culture, that's where your most creative things come out of, because you're seeing the rawness. It's like somebody who does poetry or somebody who raps, you're going to see the realness of it. This is not new. This has been going on since the beginning of time. We just continued it. And that's kind of what it is. So to answer your question, the original styles Boogaloo, because you evolve, later on to what we do now. That's the background of where all that comes from.
Well, tell me about what your thoughts are about the evolution of a dance, and feeling like you need to preserve, the legacy, but still allowing the breadth of allowing it to evolve. What are your stances in that?
It's funny you said that, because I was asked this question on our podcast about a month ago, and I struggle with that because there's a thin line between keeping it raw, original, unique, but at the same time moving forward where you evolve and it has to grow. And so what happens now, let me give you a perfect example. And I believe in evolving and growing. Just keep it original in what you're doing. So I can remember when we were kids, they had this thing called the strobe light. And if you got on stage, you didn't have to do anything. You put the strobe light on and you would look like something out of this world. But you turn the strobe light, you look like you weren't doing nothing. So a lot of kids, especially on IG, Instagram, and all the new TikTok, they're using the AI technology to advance their movement. So they don't even have to really do anything. It used to be the blue screen and all that stuff. They could just sit there and have somebody film them, and it's all AI. And then so really the AI is doing the work. You're not doing the work. I'm not with that. I understand the technology. I'm not going to knock that, because they're doing it for either likes, clout, or they're trying to get a job. But you're taking away the love of it, because you're cheating and using the technology and let it do the work for you. Personally, I don't like that, because you're cheating yourself. But as far as moving with in a show, like we do with spaceships, using lights, pushing the boundaries, I see people. I see some ballet person doing something off of some Memphis drifting movie, and it was incredible. I never would have thought of that. That's fine, because you're supposed to move forward like that. I think it's not going to stay like it is from the beginning. Nothing stay the same, but you want to keep the same raw. So keep the same raw spirit in what you do. So if you advance in the future and you move on to another evolve, just try to keep what you do authentic. Don't lose the realness of it. Am I can't answer what you're saying, or is that what you're asking?
No, that makes sense. It really does. I mean, and I get many applications every year to people, dance companies want to perform at the DanceFest, and several of them will have a very Medea Sirkas looking vibe, and and I wonder, what you all think of that, because they are in like Peru or Vietnam or something. They're not from here.
Oh, you mean imitation? I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Was it imitation is the ultimate form of flattery? That's how I look at it. That's good, because that keeps our legacy going. It's almost like when you ask these old R&B funk singers and these young rappers or whatever singers redo their song, as long as they take care of business and take care of them, and financially and, rights, they're keeping you alive, because you're introducing to another generation that wouldn't even know you. And the job walkies kind of do that for us. We don't brag about that, but they tell us that all the time. We still look up to you guys, and we always let people know where we got our concept from. So we live through them all the time in the residency in Las Vegas. But not just them. When somebody imitates us, we love it. We want them to keep doing that. Just represent it right. If ask it, we'll help you. Not to be us, but be yourself and be the best of what you can be and what you do. That's all we ask, But no, we love that. We don't be like, oh my God, look at them, they're trying to be like us. Man, they can't. No, we never do that. We try to help you. If we see what you're doing, we try to help you and to try to make you, not try to make you look like us, make you look like yourself. But you can still take our concept. That's how we look. I didn't realize that's what you were asking. Yes.
No, I was asking both. The first question kind of led me into the second, but
Okay.
the first was like for me as well as, I have the San Francisco Hip Hop Dance Fest, but anyone who's come knows that I do bring dance companies who experiment with their craft. They'll do a b-boy piece with message to classical song or something, or
Yeah.
taking
That's beautiful.
like this crump piece that's coming. It's got this whole vision, this like incredible crump piece that I'm bringing from Brussels, and it's not like crump how you would see it in the movies. It's like they're telling a whole story. They created the piece blindfolded so that they could have their sense of touch be awakened. It's just deep. It's deep. So for me, I also want to make sure that the legacy of the culture is honored. But I mean, we can't just be like, oh, we're only bringing these pure thing and not allowing it to just breathe and grow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree with you 100%. Like I said, I was on a show about 4 months, and they asked me about that. We were talking about animation, and so they got this big thing in animation. Everybody in the dance world, animation is the hottest thing now in the underground world. And so they asked me, what did I think about that? Should it be separate? I said, no, it should grow. You never stunt anything. I know a lot of guys that come from an old era, and when their era is over, they want to hold on to it. And it's like, oh, those youngsters, yeah, they're okay, but they're not doing it. Then I never want to be that person. If anything, I want to help somebody move forward because it has to grow. And what's happening now for a long time is, guys, because of technology, technology and social platform that never happened before. Styles are getting fused all over the world now. Mm-hmm. That's why you're having all-style contests now, because before you were limited, because if you didn't have social media, you only knew what was in your area. And if you traveled and seen other styles, you might pick something up kind of and come back and like, what is that? Oh, I saw this in New York. But now everybody can see everybody's style all over the world now. So all the styles are that's something that's supposed to happen. That's natural evolution. My thing is to whatever you do, just keep it authentic and keep it real, keep it raw. I was more talking about how people rely more on the technology than the actual dance. They're letting the technology do the work as opposed to the dance. Like, for instance, I don't know if you know who Nonstop is from the Dragon House family. He's an incredible dancer, but he dances all the time off a dubstep, and it looks amazing because he matches all the beats, but if you put him in a circle where the music's playing, it just looks irregular. And you're supposed to still be good regardless of that. That's what I'm saying. And but as far as that, no, it has to grow. I don't know if you know who Young Buck is?
Of course.
Yeah. He was the first one to do that, to get out there and dance off of classical, and it was like, I think Pop Pete did that too. And they're the ones to show that you can just dance off of anything. Just be true to what you're doing, to whatever you're dancing to. That's the only part I'm talking about.
I mean,
but don't try to. If you're not a ballet dancer and you try to get out there, you've never done it before, and you try to get out there and do some ballet moves, ballet dancers are going to recognize you right away that you're not a ballet dancer.
Absolutely.
You don't know the technique.
Exactly.
So don't do that.
No, we've got that history of people way before Young Buck doing dance to classical. He's very famous for it, very famous with Yo-Yo Ma and all of that, But then, I mean, what if somebody sees what you all do on YouTube or whatever, and then they copy it, but they don't give you props, or they don't ask you, ask you any advice or consultation, and then they start calling themselves Boogaloo Doodle-doo. I mean, would that be disrespectful?
Well, we have a big controversy that's been going on for 35 years. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's big in the community. We finally solved the problem, maybe. Well, everybody in the world knows it now. So not to get off the subject, but this didn't happen with Medea Sirkas or Demons of the Mind. This is a Boogaloo thing. This is with Pop and Pete and them. I don't know if you heard about all the rumors. So we've been going back and forth with Pop and Pete and them for 30-something years, because Pop and Pete and them, so they came. So I told you we started this dance in 1965. I started in 72, so I know the whole history. So I didn't realize that Pop and Pete and his brother Boogaloo Sam and them were telling people that they created this dance in 75 in Fresno, California. They were lying to everybody. In Fresno, the country farm area, are you serious? In 75? And so they had, by the time we got to them, realized they were saying this, they had the whole world brainwashed because we didn't realize they were saying this until 1990. When did I go down to B-Boy Summit? To 1998. And they've been doing it for 20-something years. They were working with Jeff Kutash in Las Vegas. I'm like, you guys did what? And oh my God, we've been at it for 30. And so finally, last year, after 30 years of hard work, me and all my people around the world finally shut them. We don't want to mess them up because I like Pop and Pete and I want them to keep working. And I know they popularized this dance, but you didn't make up this dance. So now all their people turned against them. All the LA turned against them. They exposed them. They lied, Shabadoo, told them and everything. And they lied and said they just ran with it because they didn't think we were around anymore. And that's what I had a problem with. That's the only thing. We shut that down so everybody knows without a doubt. And that's why we're doing this documentary to really, for the new generation who won't believe those lies. So that on that part. But as far as the group part, no, it hasn't happened. If it did, there's nothing you can really do about it. If I run into them, I'll say something, but you can't control the whole world. The world's too big.
Right. Oh, yeah, no, I'm glad you all kind of cleared all of that up. I just wanted to be a spectator and learn as much as I could by hearing all the sides and thinking that, well, maybe everyone has their own truth, but it also there's...
Oh, so you knew about that controversy?
Say what?
So you knew about that? You knew about that controversy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as well as other ones. And sometimes it would get on social media and it'd go back and forth and I would just kind of stay in the thread just to learn. But then it sounds like, some people have more receipts than others, perhaps.
What was confusing for Pop and Pete, what people don't realize is, because I look really younger than what I am, I'm from a whole nother era. I'm way older than Faisal and them. But because they're younger, I'm dancing with them. They brought me into a futuristic group. So I think when Pete saw me with this futuristic group, he's thinking, oh, they ain't gonna know anything. They're older than him. But I'm just dancing with these futuristic guys from San Francisco. And then when I told him where I was from, he was shocked because he never knew about anybody from Oakland would even be around. And then that's where it started. So that was one thing. I was talking on the Oakland side of it, and then our Media Sirkas demons line. We always had our little beef with Lonnie Pop-Tart. That was a whole other conversation. When we finally got that together. Pop-Tart, so that's a whole other section we had to deal with. So that's something more. Faisal had to deal with that. So we kind of calmed that down. That finally calmed down as far as the San Francisco history part of it.
Yeah, Gypsy. Brandy and I were at the y'all's event last year where you all gave him an award.
And that changed him. That changed him forever. That's all he wanted. He wanted us to embrace him. That's all he wanted. And then ever since then, I'm not sure we'll be the best of friends because we're in two different kind of far away. But that changed our relationship forever. My relationship with Plick Plock and Fais's relationship with Lon, because they never thought we would do that. We always loved them. It's just that we were just in a different lane. They were a different lane, and just people were talking. So I'm glad that got, before everybody got old and sick or whatever, that kind of got squashed.
Yeah.
That whole history.
We'll have to have you back on because we just scratched the surface. But I want everyone to know that on closing night, Sunday, November the 9th, after the 5 p.m. show, we have a fun closing party. It's always sponsored by dear Brandy Beazley, the little drinks and the foods, but we have an award ceremony, and that is when we're going to be presenting the San Francisco International Hip Hop Dance Fest Legend Award to Boogaloo Dana. So don't forget to get your tickets. It is happening, and we really appreciate you, Dana, for joining us and blessing us with all your information. I'm not kidding. I think we need a part 2 and part 3 at some point.
Absolutely. It's like a Bay Area dance history version of Respect. Yes.
Really. it's so valuable. And you know, you, me, Bezo, Pop and P, all of us, we're not young chickens anymore. So we might as well record this stuff while we're still capable of sharing it all. And I'm so honored that you came and joined us. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dana. Until we see you again, much love and much
respect.
peace.
Right on.